Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining us again. I am here with Adam, who agreed to help me out with a hand I struggled with recently. Hey, Adam.
Hey Bajir, how you doing?
Good. I'm lucky to have you on speed dial when I run into trouble.
Yeah, you get my discount rate.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Lucky me. All right. So this is a twofer. I sent the link through to Adam, and we'll show it in a second. But I had first a question about the bidding, and then a question about the card play. Just like I actually do with most of the hands I play.
Well, fortunately, you weren't on defense too, so you could only have two questions.
That's right. Well, let's see how it goes. I might have one of those too. All right. So the very first, this was just a hand that came up in one of the free tournaments on Bridge Base. I play. I use standard bidding, but playing on Bridge Base, I constantly encounter bids that I'm a little bit unfamiliar with or that are a little bit different because of the bridge-based bidding system.
Sure.
And Norse one no Trump response, when I clicked on it, it said forcing one no Trump. And I was hoping you could help us understand what that might mean if we're playing on Bridge Base and we see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the robots on Bridge Base use the 2/1 game forcing system, which means that if I open at the 1 level and you make a non-jump at the 2 level, like 1 spade, 2 clubs, that's game forcing. As opposed to what we call standard, which is that 2/1 was forcing, but not to game. So it only showed 10 or 11 points, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in standard, when you open a spade, if I have 10 points, I bid 2 clubs or 2 diamonds or whatever. And so my one no Trump bid is still a catch-all, but it's limited to about 6 to 9 points. When we switch to 2/1, well, now the threshold for that 2 club bid went up to 13 points. And so even more hands had to get stuck into that catch-all one no Trump bid. And so now, instead of being 6 to 9 points, now it's 6 to 12 points.
Wow, right. So because as responder, we might want to force a rebid from partner without forcing to game.
Yeah.
This becomes the catch-all for that.
Right. And the trickiest hand is the 3-card raise with an invitational hand. So partner opens a spade, and I have 3 spades and like 11 points. Right? In standard bidding, I would start with 2 clubs to show my 10 points, and then I would bid spades, and partner would know, oh, 10 points, 3 spades. But in 2/1, I can't do that. So I have to start with a forcing one no Trump, and then jump to 3 spades next.
Okay.
And so that's the reason that this forcing one no Trump came into existence. It's like, if Responder's going to have hands that good, we kind of need this to be forcing. But ironically, sentiment has shifted. And now most experts, including myself, play a semi-forcing one no Trump. Which means, okay, the one no Trump, it still goes up to 12 points. But you're allowed to pass it if you have just a Drek, like 5-3-3-2 12 count.
If you really have nothing else to say.
Right. And the number one criterion is, if partner invited me, I would say no. I would not go to game. Right? So if the best hand responder can have for this one no Trump bid is an invitational raise, and I'm saying I have a hand that if you invited me, I would not go, then there's no way we're missing a game. And that's the biggest thing in our bidding, is just we don't want to miss a game. So if game is off the table once partner doesn't force to game with a 2/1 bid, and you're 5-3-3-2, you can pass. That's what we call semi-forcing. And that's what I suggest. The robot plays it forcing, which is a little bit old school, but there's still plenty of experts who use that.
Okay.
So you have to bid. Like, the big downside of the forcing one is that sometimes you're stuck bidding a 3-card suit, right? So I bid a spade and my partner bids a no Trump. And if I don't have 6 spades and I don't have a 4-card suit to bid, I'm stuck bidding like 2 clubs. Because if I were to bid 2 no trump, that would show the strong hand. That would show like the 18-point hand.
But I suppose if you do play that system, your partner will also understand this bid might just be the only option.
Right. Which is, it's one of those necessary evils, and everything has a trade-off. But that's what the forcing 1 no trump is. It's just I have a catch-all bid. Basically, I have enough to bid, but not enough to bid at the 2 level and force the game. So I have that 5 or 6 points that's necessary to respond. I don't have the 13 points I need for the game force. Anywhere in between, basically.
Well, with more and more people, especially the last couple years, playing over at BBO, I imagine I'm not the only one. Sometimes gets confused with the 2/1 bids that you'll encounter there.
It's not the best way to learn how to bid playing with the robot, Bajir. You should take some lessons.
Yeah. Well, funny you mentioned that. Quick little plug. Learn from the best, sitting across from me now.
Absolutely.
Virtually.
Yeah.
Adam, part 2 of this question.
Part 2.
Yeah. Okay. Well, ended up 2 spades, and we're missing quite a few of them. Didn't know the distribution, but I struggled with how to play this.
Absolutely.
Missing, ace, jack, and 4 more.
This is one of the things that's going to happen with this forcing no trump, even with the semi-forcing no trump, right? Even if we played it semi-forcing, we would have exactly the same auction. A spade, a no trump, you have an unbalanced hand. You'd bid 2 diamonds, and partner's very likely to take a preference back. And so, sometimes when we're both minimum, we're going to end up playing in a 5-2 fit. It's not the end of the world. When you're playing in a 7-card trump fit, you should assume that the trumps are going to split 4-2. Right? That's
with more likely than 3-3. More likely than 3-3.
Right, and much more likely than 5-1. So you want to be pessimistic, but not suicidal.
Okay. In general.
Yeah, that's my kind of
advice for life.
Yeah. So the same basic strategies for playing the hand exist in a 7-card trump fit, right? It's either don't draw trumps because we need to rough stuff, or draw trumps so we can cash our winners kind of hand. Right. So which does this one look like? I believe they led a diamond. Is that right? Yeah, I think a heart. The heart. That's what I meant. They led a heart. Right. Let me just double check. No, they led their singleton diamond. Of course they led their singleton diamond. So, one possibility on this hand is draw trumps and try to take our diamond tricks, right? We should have a few diamond tricks. Another possibility is play it, more like an elopement, which means trying to take roughs in the south hand. That's an unusual strategy. I would think on this one, I would just draw trumps. So, I would take this here and I would just play a trump.
See what we learn, see what comes down.
Yeah. And then
and just know, we might have a couple rounds of trumps to lose, but
that's right. But on this kind of layout, you're going to lose 2 or 3 trumps. That's fine. What you want to avoid is losing 3 or 4 or 5 by not drawing trumps and letting them score their trumps separately. All right.
I think that's where I really struggled. I felt so uncomfortable with the prospect of losing, 3 rounds of trumps that I tried to avoid that, instead of thinking, well, with 6, if they have 6 of the 6 spades, they'll do a lot of damage with that no matter what. So
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of the things I see people do wrong all the time, is that if they don't have a strong enough trump holding, they get scared and won't draw trumps, right? It might be like they have 8 of them, but they have jack third opposite 3 small or something.
Right.
In my book, there's a section that's called "Bad Trumps Are Not a Reason Not to Draw Trumps." Right? In the whole, I have a whole section on reasons not to draw trumps, and it's like this is not one of them. Right? If it's a draw trump hand, you draw trumps, even if the trumps are bad.
I think that's our lesson right there. Right here, let me type that in.
Yeah.
Bad trumps are not a reason not to draw trumps. How many exclamation marks should I add?
3.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a really good rule of thumb, and it's one that I just see people make a mistake with so often. And so they're just like, well, my trumps were bad, so I didn't want to draw trumps. It's like, okay, but if you drew trumps, you would lose 3 trumps. But you ended up losing 5 because you didn't touch them, and they got all 5 trumps separately.
Sounds familiar.
Oh, I hadn't thought about it that way. Your goal on that hand is just get 2 trumps out at a time.
Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us, especially for folks getting used to playing on bridge base. If you encounter an interesting hand or a bid you don't understand, send it in. Maybe I can ring Adam up for another video. Thank you, Adam.
Always available. See you all in class.
See ya.